Share notes. Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, July 23rd, 2019 Working Group Component Standard Meeting. We've got kind of a small crowd and a short agenda today. So it doesn't look like Lubomir is here yet. So I'll leave the first one just, in case he shows up. And then Jorge, do you want to talk about your kube-proxy work with Legacy Flag at all?
So I don't have a cool story as of right now. Since I actually proposed a PR, I rewritten the entire thing more than a couple times, trying to make sure that I'm doing things the way that they're supposed to. So from the PR, I got some really valuable feedback. So one of the issues is I wasn't particularly sure about all the things legacy flags were supposed to be used for, and based on the comments and the mention of the other PR that's a work in progress for the with Kflag.
Hey, Jorge, your mic or maybe your connection might be dropping out. Do you want to just double check?
The thing that I have is so kube-proxy. The entry point is a Cobra command. It's not. I checked, and there is no way of actually configuring the. There's no way of telling a Cobra command to use this particular type of flag set. So the only way of modifying, the only way of working with the integrating the legacy flag set with the P flag set is to call the Cobra command flags function, which is going to return a reference to the flag set, and then from that we can. I essentially just follow the Kflag example to use it in kube-proxy to register all the flags. So that's a huge add flags function that I'm refactoring in there.
Have you had a chance to push that to GitHub yet?
I haven't.
Okay, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I was looking at this
yeah,
one and I was like, oh man, I don't see these changes. Okay.
Sorry. One of my big blockers was the fact that I never actually looked at P flags under the hood. I just been using it. I'm a normal user
Mm-hmm.
until last week.
Sure.
So for example, for a lot of kube-proxy, it has some funny way of setting flags. So I had to go back into the actual code, see how it does it, and try to see how I could best use legacy flags to actually create a bunch of apply functions. So I'm working on that. Actually, this morning I got to a point where I could actually compile kube-proxy, and the flags were still registered, and I was creating and I replicated for the most part the structure of the Kflag example, where you register a flag from using legacy flag set, it returns a flag set, and then you iterate through all of those to essentially create an apply function where you can reapply functions to the config.
Do you want to send me a link to just like a GitHub commit hash of kind of what you're working on? I just want to make sure we're not doing it in a more complicated way than we have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to at least get to a point where I was sure I wasn't where I was at least replicating as much as possible the Kflag example. Again, had to do a lot of learning with P flags.
What specifically is the Kflag example?
So the Kflag example, it creates a simple. It's referenced in one of the comments in my PR. It it creates a small configuration. It creates a small configuration, and then it registers the flags using legacy flag set, and it iterates through all the return values to. Yeah, so if you go to the comments,
All right, sure.
so can you scroll up? Yeah, I think the second comment. So there's a PR73. What
This
was it? Yeah, I think yeah, that one.
Okay, got it. Oh, this is
And
the Kflag. Okay, yeah, the old when it used to be called Kflag. Yeah. Okay.
mhm. Yeah, and for example, if you go to files change, I think there's a file that's called example
Yeah, that's true.
example.go.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, that one. So in that one you call the so for example, looking at the main function, you create the flag set with k flags, new flag set, then apply flags calls options, add flags. So the add flags function, I've been trying to mirror it as much as possible in my PR, and I think the code for that should be either right below or right above that file.
Okay, cool. And I think kubeproxy internally, should already have something like an add flags. It is a little more complicated with Cobra involved, and even in Cubelet, it was a little more complicated with Cobra involved, and that's not really shown in this example. If you do look at Cubelet's entry point a little bit, you'll see some things we did to work around Cobra
Mm-hmm.
um, and manipulate the flags more on our own terms. So that might help you too if you're running into issues or roadblocks with the interface on Cobra.
Cool. Yeah. So you mentioned. So you said the kubelet.
Yeah. So if you go here,
Mhm.
um,
Okay, so it follows the same structure as.
yeah, most of the core components follow a pretty similar structure like that. And then you'll see the new kubelet command here has
Mhm.
Cobra in it, but we actually parse the flags ourselves in run. So there's actually a flag set that we maintain outside of the command that
Mhm.
don't attach to Cobra because Cobra does some things where, like, there are a number of sort of not really edge cases, but cases in Cobra where it will automatically merge in the global flag set with whatever you're parsing.
Mhm.
We were trying to maintain control over that flag set because there are some libraries that Kubernetes depends on that register flags that we don't want exposed. Um, so in order to avoid that, we kind of had to do it ourselves.
Okay. Awesome. I'll check that out.
Yeah, so take a look
Thanks.
at this. And there's also a detailed outline of how this works in that version component config file stock.
Mhm.
Um, if you don't have a link to that, I can send it to you as well.
Please.
So there's this stock. Which I can put the link in the chat. Here. So right after I finished kind of refactoring the kubelet to do that and graduating its component config API to beta, I wrote up this whole doc on kind of why we did that and
Mhm.
how we did it. So this is a great resource if you're just looking for more details on how it works in the kubelet and why, like what problems we had to solve and why we solved them the way we did. Some things in here, like we had to take shortcuts.
Mhm.
necessarily have a good way to do it. And like legacy flag is one of the things we're hoping will fix some of those shortcuts now. But yeah, in general, this is a good thing to read if you're interested in um, how things work, or if you're just trying to figure out solutions to some of those problems with working around Cobra.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I didn't know this document existed.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay, so yeah, just let me know when if you have something you want me to take a look at. I'm happy to help with that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll start pushing. I'll start pushing it out today. I really spent. I think I rewrote an RBR 3 or 4 times, but I think I'm getting the gist of it.
Cool. All right. So Ross, you have an item on here, organized component config design meeting. Do you want to talk about that?
This is basically an idea that I had today. So we probably need to do a broader sync up between C cluster lifecycle and C API machinery folks. So we can actually try and sort of figure out where the conversion validation boundaries lie and we should actually take. So basically, Cubelet is hitting this problem right now, and we don't know what direction to take exactly. And I figured out that this is probably going to be like a question that other cluster lifecycle tools are going to face. For example, COPS or even the cluster add-ons. And we probably need some broader discussion and more focused discussion on what steps to take in order to convert and validate component configs from the cluster lifecycle perspective. And probably this meeting is going to produce some sort of consensus in order to get a cap in place and start implementing these features around the cluster lifecycle tools.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. It's definitely worth talking to those folks. Do you want to take point on setting that up?
Yeah, I'll email the six and workgroup component standard and probably try to set up some doodle to figure out the best possible time slot.
Okay, sounds good. Does anyone have anything else? All right, well, I'm going to move Lubomir's item to next week so he can actually be here for that review. And then thanks so much, everyone. You have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.